Welcome everyone. Supplier selection criteria. This is what we are going to talk today in this video. What are the essential criteria supplier must display to get selected as a probable bidder or a vendor? So agenda is simple and clear. It is all about supply evaluation. It is all about supplier selection. The key criteria for supply evaluation, and in the process, can we have supply evaluation survey form? Critical supplier selection issues, if there are any, what are the advantages, disadvantages, probably uh, the impediments that comes around it, and reducing the supply evaluation and the selection time, cycle time per se. So evaluation and selection process, I believe there is no one best way to go for a selection process. Everybody will have a different methodology, pedagogy to assess a situation or a supplier. In fact, it is not the supplier's quality that is coming at the stake, but often, more often than not, is the situation, the condition which has an impending features or impact onto that selection criteria. Overall objective is to reduce sourcing growth. The idea is to have a continuous supply of the raw materials or any resources that we are looking to give it to the third party or a vendor, and definitely at the same time reduce the overall cost of operation. In the process, maximizing value for the buyer. Need to select supplier for a longer period of time. Once selected, the supplier himself or herself, the company thereof, can have a peace of mind that they can work continuously work for some foreseeable future time. Supplier selection and evaluation. Now, how do we go around it? First and foremost thing is to understand that we require a supplier. We need to hive certain operation of our production, of our operation of our company per se. So depending upon that, we look for key resource requirement, identify them. We need to understand what are we looking for a sourcing strategy per se. Is this uninterrupted supply of the product, process, services, or do we look for some kind of credit facilities that uh, can unblock certain cash flow issues that comes around it? So determine your strategies, identify potential sources of supplier, thereby according to your requirement identify their strength. A supplier which can continuously supply you raw materials but probably will not be able to give you credit. A supplier who can give you a credit but probably depends a certain impediment as far as the sources of supplies are concerned. Now you need to check that, take the best one. A supplier who's tech enabled and the supplier who is not so tech enabled. Limit the supplier selection thereby and go about it as on when on basis. We need to understand everything, select supplier and reach agreement. Evaluation and selection decision during the NPD or the new product development. This is where the supplier plays a vital role to assess you or assist you in enhancing the profitability of your company. Due to poor existing and supplier performances. The poor existing supplier performance, you have a long-term agreement, but there are certain operational issues that might creep in. So you need to change your supplier, or at best, at the very end of the existing contract, either the supplier want to exit or you want to exit one, or both of you want to continue but at different terms and condition. Now these are things that you need to understand for selection of suppliers, thereby buying a new equipment, expanding into a new market or product line, receiving internal user acquisition as on when on basis. We talk about performing market test, whether the supplier, whether the product that you are dealing with, whether the service your company is providing, is it been lapped out by the market? Is the market ready for that? Are there in continuous demand for your product? Facing counter trade requirement is when you have stiff competition, when you have stiff alternatives that the consumer might be opting out for. During outsourcing analysis, you need to decide upon what can be the best fit for your supplier, conducting a reverse auction as to what can be done, whether you want to build it on your own rather than depending upon a third party when current suppliers have insufficient capacity per se, or their capacity and your capacity, there is a huge gap and there's a huge mismatch between them, reducing the supply base, thereby identifying key sourcing requirement may be determined by internal as well as external customers. We are talking about supplier quality, cost, delivery performances and other. It will vary from item to item, places to places, thereby determining sourcing strategies, single or multiple sourcing, short term or long term contracts, what we are looking into it. There are benefits to single sourcing. You might have credit. There are benefits to multiple sources. There will be uninterrupted supply of your raw material. There can be short term. You can have a short term financial crunch provided, and so you require a supplier to pitch in at a short notice. It can be short term. It can be a long term contract wherein you build an ecosystem between you and the supplier for the whole gamut of activities. So there is a design support, there is for an operational support. We are talking about full service and non-full services, a part services, a full service where you just do the product, everything from marketing to servicing, everything has been done by the vendors per se, domestic and foreign based supplier, collaboration versus arm length supplier, as on when on basis. It depends on how intricate that your relationship you want to build out with your supplier, as what is more important than anything else. And that is where you will decide your sourcing strategy. Which all strategies you want to implement or opt out for is what you to decide. Identify potential sources, how well existing supplier can satisfy cost, quality and other performance objective, strategic importance of purchase requirement, technical complexities of purchase requirement is what we are looking about to decide upon it. Go for it, and I'm sure you will come up and narrow down the number of suppliers that is made available. So yes, information search requirements, if you look into it, then we have strategic importance of buyers and capabilities of suppliers. If high strategic is required and high capabilities required, minor to moderate information search is required. But in case if it is high importance for the buyer but low capabilities of supplier, there's a major information, there's a major search that needs to be undertaken for, because the buyer is more important. The supplier doesn't have that similar capacity, capability, quality, and so on and so forth. And that is what will be the same thing when we come into a low strategic importance for buyer and a high capabilities of supplier. In fact, nothing. It's absolutely anybody can tell that it's a minor of the information search, because there is a market leader already there, and for the buyer it is not as important as anything else. But what happens when both of them are at the lower end, both for the suppliers and both for the buyers, you require somewhere down minor to moderate information search that comes around it. So sources of information, now how do we get it, where are they? So we can have current suppliers as a source, the preferred supplier, your competitors from whom they are getting their supplies for, sales representative, the information data sheet, the business pages, the yellow pages, the experiences, the trade journal, you name it, and we can have it, a number of sources that comes around it, both from the second party indirect information, internal sources, and obviously from the online platform that comes around it. Sourcing alternatives is all about manufacturing versus distributor. Whether you want to go for vendor managed inventory or integrated supplier, local, national, or international suppliers, large versus small supplier capability, multiple versus single sourcing capabilities, limit suppliers in selection pool. Financial risk analysis is all we are talking about, the Dun and Bradstreet reports, evaluation of supplier performances for existing suppliers, evaluation of supplier provided information as preliminary surveys. We are talking about RFPs and RFQs. We are talking about request for proposals, request for proposal, request for quotation, or radio frequency identification. How do we come across with it? This is what is most important. Method of evaluation selection, evaluation of supplier provided information, supplier visit them, understand what are they doing about it, how their business model is all operating, who are their clients. Be give an external search then and there. You will understand as on when on basis. Key suppliers criteria. Now, one of the best criteria often is the price, the quality, and the time that they want to deliver upon it. These are the topmost priorities for any suppliers to be shortlisted for the price, the quality, and the delivery time. Apart from it, yes, definitely the management quality, the management capability, not only the management capabilities but also the employees who run the show, their understanding of the process, business process, and their capabilities are equally important. The cost structure, the total quality performance system and philosophy, process and technology capability, thereby key supply evaluation, environmental regulation compliance, financial stability, production scheduling and control system, e-commerce capability, supplier sourcing strategies, policies, and techniques, longer term relation potential as on when on basis is what we are looking forward to. We are talking about management capabilities. Does the management has a long term view, long range planning? What exactly is the quality of management? Have they proven themselves over a period of time in a different sphere and different industry, perhaps? Doesn't matter. Are they, what are the philosophy of management? Are they into the continuous improvement policy? How was the people turnover, the employee turnover, the management turnover is all about it? What are the pedigree of the management in terms of educational background, in terms of the professional background? Yes, we talk about the management capabilities, the organization vision, is the customer being the prime focus for the company's activities? What are the history of labor management relation? Are there any unrest? If any, how were they were mitigated? Now you need to understand this thing, the capital investment as on when on basis. Management capability is the organization prepared to face future competitive challenges. Does management fully understand the importance of strategic sourcing? Perhaps yes. Employee capabilities, degree of commitment to quality, to continuous improvement, overall skills, overall abilities, employee management relations, workers' flexibility, workforce turnover, willingness to continue to improve the operation as on when on basis. This is what employee capabilities is all about it. Now talking about total cost structure, the direct labor cost, the indirect labor cost, material cost, manufacturer process operating cost, and the general overhead cost, we are looking into it. The direct labor cost, how does it involved into it? Indirect labor cost, the material cost, the manufacturing cost, or the processes operating around here. Challenges of total cost analysis, suppliers may not understand its true cost. Unsophisticated cost accounting system probably will always be very difficult to put a tap where the pilferages is all about it. So cost data is considered as proprietary as it can be. Buyer's knowledge might be undermined. Suppliers is the concerns about the potential misuse of the cost data. Let us understand the total quality performances. Management committee, uses of SPC or statistical process control techniques, are they in vogue with the latest technology? Are they in vogue with the scientific terminologies as far as what quality is all about it? It should not be based in somebody's viewpoints or somebody's perception. Levels of defect, the SQC, the statistical process control, or the Six Sigma levels of defect that we are looking into it. We are talking of everything that comes with uh, safety training. Probably MBNQA is Malcolm Bridge National Quality Award and International Organization for Standard 9000 criteria as on case on. Maybe this is what we are looking forward to. The resources, the commitment to the research and development. We talk about the environmental compliances. Environmental compliances in terms of recycle management. Environmental compliances in terms of hazardous material handling procedures, and how do they get rid of it in cases it is a wastage. The control of ozone depleting or CFC, chlorofluorocarbon depleting service substances, in fact of heating and ventilation, air conditioning equipment. This is one of those measures that needs to be taken care of. Financial stability is often used as a screening process and initial selection process. Risk of financial weak suppliers. Suppliers will go out of business. Insufficient resources to invest in improved plant, improved equipment. Suppliers may become too independent to on buyers, maybe an indicators or others problem. Let us talk about production scheduling and controlling. Does the supplier use MRP or material resource planning as the case might be? Does the supplier track material? The production cycle time. Can the supplier support buyers? JIT, just in time initiatives. Now, what I'm trying to raise issues for my audience of this video is to understand the question that will give you amply clear answers of what or which supplier should be preferred over other. Now, this is what we are looking into is the suppliers lead time, the suppliers on delivery per performances. We need to understand whether we are talking about web-based or business to business or EDI, electronic data interface changes as the things might be going around it. Now we are also talking about CAD or computer aided design capabilities. Is suppliers having it? Are the supplier using barcoding, for example? Does the supplier using RFID or radio frequency identifiers, as the case might be? Does the supplier ASNS? What is ASNS? Is advanced shipment notice per se, as we are talking about it. Are we talking about EFT, electronic fund transfers? Does the suppliers have utilizing email? So it is advanced shipment notices, electronic fund transfers, emails. How do we go around it? So yes, we talk about tier one, tier two, tier three supplier. Can we categorize them? Sharing of the information, levels of supplier development activities in supplier's own supply base. Is the supplier willing to participate? Can the supplier commit necessary resources? When in design phase, can the supplier participate? And how is the supplier unique? Can the supplier participate in a joint problem solving and improvement? Will there be a free and open information sharing? Will everybody will have a part of the information accessibility to them? Will the supplier engage in future planning? Are they going to be part as a stakeholder management? Can the supplier maintain the confidentiality of the business? And the level of comfort between a supplier and the company needs to be assessed. For long-term relationships, what are the potential that we look into it? How well does the supplier understand the buyer's industry? How will the supplier share the cost? Will it have only the pain together towards it? Will it be only professional to look after their part of the work and shelve all the responsibility to them? If they have to have a long-term relationship, things can be partnered all together. The supplier is willing to share innovations data early. Can the supplier commit to dedicated capacity? What is the supplier commitment level? Evaluation and selection surveys is identify supplier evaluation categories. Assign a weight to each category. Identify and weight subcategories. Define a scoring system for categories and subcategories. Evaluate supplier directly and don't depend on somebody else's evaluation, because their perception or their evaluation must be on faulty basis altogether. Review the result and make decision for your understanding. I'm just showing you the slides up to where which can be done altogether. So we have the category and then we can have this criteria. It can be a quality criteria, it can be a management capability, the financial capability, and we have spoken about each of them, be it the cost structures, be it the delivery performances, be it the technical things, and so on and so forth, the general thing. Now upon it is where you give the weightage and the sub weightage for each of the points, multiply them, and you'll get a total which comes around it. This needs to be added up and will give you a figure which tells whether the supplier should be preferred or not preferred. Even if it is not being preferred or not preferred, if you are evaluating a number of supplier on this parameter, you can easily rank each supplier vis-a-vis the other. Critical supplier selection issue is the size relation. Use of international suppliers based on the size, credibility, reputation, competitors as a supplier, counter trade requirements, and social objectives. Often your competitors can become an add-on things to your businesses because it benefits in the long run for everyone to be sustainable. Reducing selection cycle time, map the existing process, and I have told you how to map the process with the table. Integrate the internal customers. Internal customers are no one else but your employees, no one else but your suppliers, existing suppliers, no one else but who knows the things of doing the businesses with you. Data warehousing and supplier information, third party support, reducing selection cycle time is new organization design features, preferred supplier list, electronic tools helps you to make quick decisions. A good supplier has these following qualities. You know what are they? They basically have the builds quality into a product, aiming from zero defect or Six Sigma quality system has been built into it. Makes delivery performance a priority, on time delivery, mind you, delivery performance a priority, demonstrate responsiveness to the buyer's needs, works with the buyers to reduce the lead time, provides the buyers with capability, workload of information, creates the future, reinvest part of its profit into research and development with a long-term view, meet stringent financial stability criteria when evaluating new customers as on when on basis. These are essential qualities of good suppliers, thereby everything can be worked upon it, and we need to understand one at a time. With this words, I come to an end of this discussion. Thank you for watching this video.